noon. Thank you. And the roll call, we have David. You're a full member?
Yes.
David? Yes, okay.
I am, I guess now, I never know.
Denise,
Yes.
Natalie,
Yes.
and Margie. As well as Leila,
Staff to the
staff.
committee is.
Okay, approval of the minutes. I know we
And
just
we
got,
Marge, we need to say in the minutes that we're moving Denise up to a regular member for this meeting.
okay, and we will move Denise up to a regular member for this meeting. Should there be a vacancy, we will have it all the way up.
Geez, I got promoted.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see your paycheck.
Okay.
So we will approve the minutes. I know we just received them because they were from six months ago. But I didn't happen to notice anything wrong. Did anybody notice anything wrong in the minutes? Okay.
No.
Okay.
I'll make
can I
a
have
motion. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay. Approval of the minutes by Natalie, seconded by Denise, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Public communications, does anybody have any public communications for us? None. And our staff report, we will go to Leila now for that.
Thank you. I'll start with the Community Development Block Grant application for 2026. Lauren and I are currently working on the Town of Groton website page for this grant application. I just wanted to have some details out there available for residents and members of our community to, be able to kind of understand what the CDBG annual application process is. And I'll also add summaries of past completed projects. I'll give us maybe the past 10 years or so, just so that
Okay.
people can see what we have done in the past years, and also maybe as inspiration to what we can apply for in the future, and hopefully starting in 2026. That page will be up here in a week or two, and so you'll all be able to see what's going on there. The reason why I bring that up early is because that application process is lengthy. And there's a lot of steps that we need to go through. It needs to go through council. We need to schedule a public hearing. We need to select an organization that we are applying with. The most recent project was at Mystic River Homes. If you remember, I think some of you might have gone and visited that property. So those are the type of organizations that we can partner with. On the project webpage, I will provide some details as to what type of organizations are eligible to participate in this program. In the report, there will also be a link to that project page. And we also link to the state website that gives a little bit more details to what their requirements are for the program. A few dates, not dates, but say months to kind of look for is by March, we should know if we are applying for the CDBG grant for 2026. Every year, the state hosts a workshop for municipalities that are interested in applying. It's required if you are applying to attend that workshop. By the end of that month, they also require you submit an intent to apply, which is a one-page document, just kind of giving high-level interest in applying. And then another major date is by end of May, the full application is due to the state. And that's, I don't know, 200-page, 300-page document. I can show you next time a file, just to see the example of how much work needs to go into that. And that is just the application, not even going into the actual project work. Okay. Housing rehab. As we've discussed in the past, we do have 2 housing rehab programs. One is under the state CDBG program. The state calls it the program income housing rehab projects. I'll start with that one. We currently have 3 projects in progress. An estimated cost is about 168,000. The number of residents that I'm starting to include in some of these reports is we are helping about 15 residents in these homes. I think another important point to make is that when I say 3 projects in progress, those are properties. Some of these properties do have maybe 2 units on the property, if it's a duplex, for example. And so that's why you see that high number of residents listed under the, the number of projects, okay? This program allows for between 1 and 4 units in a property. So we can work on, property owners who have between 1 and 4 units. So you'll find times that some of these projects are 2 units or 3 or 4 on the site, and they are eligible to participate in this program.
Question, Leila, are they eligible for more money for the project if there's 2 or 3 or 4 units?
Yes.
Yes.
But that is a discussion that is had up front. If the program funds are available and allow for, the work to be completed, there's prioritizations that need to happen. For example, health and safety, right? Housing repair needs. So if say, for example, each unit doesn't need a full rehab, maybe it's certain things within each unit,
Sure,
those kind
sure.
of prioritizations that happen. Yes, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
The reason why that in progress project is that low is because the consultant we're working with, his contract is ending, I want to say early next year, February, if not March. Consultant, I've talked to him, him and his team, they're swamped. They have somewhat close to 60 projects from different towns that they're working on right now. There's only 3 of them. And the fear is that they cannot take on more projects from our community, a few of the communities in our area, because they will not get to them by the time their contract ends. And they do not want to commit to more work when they cannot promise to be able to deliver on time for some of that. And so the 3 that they are currently working on are ones that we have submitted to them, I believe, in the last year or beginning of this year. So that's why that number is that low. We will need to figure out a new consultant that we can work with for that program, because the CDBG requires that all consultants be certified by the Department of Housing. The list for that is very short, and that's why, the availability and capacity to help is very limited. And so that's a problem we'll need to see how we can overcome in the next few months here. Yeah.
I have one question.
Yes.
This 270,000 current balance. Now, is that cash on hand? And then you'll have paybacks should somebody pass away or move or what have you?
Yeah, so the things in red are the things that will be updated. So those
Okay.
are not the full figure right now. I just kept them in there just as a reminder so that I update those things.
Okay, so,
But that program funds are in our account, yes.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
And as people pay off, I think the reason why you'll see loan payoff year to date, there's been a few, but finance is still processing some of those checks that we've received for payoffs, yes. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And that number, if you notice from previous meetings, it seems like it's staying around the same amount, is because as we work, people pay off, and so it's just like cycling, which is a good problem to have. We have the funds. The issue here is more so the consultant availability to help us kind of move along with a lot of these projects. Yeah.
Okay.
Leila, the current consultant,
Yes.
is that Andy Woodstock with
No.
Echo? No,
No.
is that Peter Testa?
Yes.
Okay, so we have to find someone other than Peter?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
A&E Services has been great. They've helped us as much as they can. And Peter, I've talked to him, he said he could try to help, but the issue is he cannot promise to get work done as soon as
Mhm.
we'd like. You know, it might take a year or two before he gets to our project again, and so I can understand the problem there.
That's not good. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
The ARPA housing rehab program, that one too, same problem. Consultant that we secured, we are on the list of projects that they are working on. There's a lot of delay. These consultants, I don't know if I've explained this in the past, they work with multiple towns, so it's not just one town. A&E Services, I mean, they've had at some point 30, 40 towns that they work with at once, you know, and so they are trying to help, but, you know, there's an issue there of availability and resource availability. But I am in meetings with the town's building department to see what requirements we can work towards pertaining to building code, local building code, and how we can meet state or federal housing rehab standards with some of these projects. And if there's a solution that we can work around, that we can hopefully move along with some of these projects. We currently have the three that I discussed last time. It's the same three. They've been great. The homeowners have been great. I've been in communication with them. They are aware of where we are. And hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll do that initial site inspection and start moving these projects along.
So now the 375, that's after the 126?
No.
No, that's
We
before.
we
Okay.
haven't touched any of the funds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with winter coming, should somebody's furnace
Mhm.
crap out or a hot water heater crap out, we should have some money to help some people.
Yes, there are people on the wait list that are not even the ones approved.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
There was quite a few of them.
yeah, and so, but again, you bring up a good point that we are trying to be strategic in how we prioritize the projects that we'll be working on starting now, accounting for, you know, the season. So if there's furnaces, if there's leaking roofs that needs to be replaced, we will try to prioritize those before the winter comes, and, you know. Yeah.
Is there any possibility of getting more counselors or advisors or I'm not sure the term that, you know, the people you have to work with that are so overworked.
Consultants.
Yeah.
Consultants or whatever is,
There's not a lot of, I mean, if you look at the construction industry and the trades, if you look at the general, I mean, experience, I'll use experience as a measure here. The people who are currently consultants have been doing this for 20, 30 years. There's not a large pool coming up behind after them. You know, that's the
so they
issue.
can't apply for a license and get one like that.
You can go through the process
Yes,
and
right.
go to that, yeah. And so the issue here is there's not a lot of them that are certified to and certified, qualified, and have the finances to
Right.
participate in this program, yeah. So we are shifting amongst other consultants that are working with other towns, you know what I mean? It's that kind of competitive process that we're going through, trying to acquire someone who's working with another town to help us for a short period of time or a number of projects. So we're trying to figure out how we can work around their schedules. Yes, yeah.
That's a nightmare by itself.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's a good business opportunity for, you know, if someone is interested in, you know, pursuing, but I mean, not a lot of people have been interested. There's a lot of contractors. There's a difference, right? There's a lot of construction contractors, people doing construction work, but for the type of kind of oversight that these type of program needs, a lot of these contractors don't have the certification, or they don't want to, you know, go through all the loopholes or the issues that are coming up with some of these programs, yeah. But we are constantly trying to reach out and see who's available. I'm in communication with New London, Norwich, Manchester, Windsor, Stonington, just trying to see who's out there and what's happening and who we can work with. So that will continue happening until we can find someone else.
Just curious, Leila, does the grant require us to use a consultant, or do we use a consultant because we don't have a staff person who's qualified to do that.
The grant does ask, and it does state that the person or the third party needs to be insured. And that's the risk that they are incurring for the work that occurs at their property. So
Okay.
as the consultant with it, and that's why I say they need to have the financial ability to take on this type of work, because they need to be insured and take on that risk. So
Right.
whenever, we approve the project to move along, it moves to the consultant's responsibility, and they make sure, the work is done to code and standard.
I guess part of what I'm wondering from what you're saying is whether a number of the towns
Yeah.
ought to kind of work together and hire a person if the towns need to, that could do this consultant role. It sounds like a number of other towns are having the same problem. So,
Yes, so that is something that's happening in a few of the other towns. They are coming together and kind of working with the same person. And that's what we are trying to get to see if there's a way we can. I'll say New London and Norwich, their CDBG program is different to ours. They're not in the
Yeah.
small cities program. They're in the entitlement kind of group or category, and so they work directly with HUD, and they have their internal kind of inspectors and procedure that they follow based on HUD's requirements. Yes, yeah.
uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay, I
Okay,
have
thank
one
you. Thank you.
The group of men that oversaw the building of our schools, made sure everything was done properly and by the book, by the number, and they kept track of everything. Would they be qualified?
For the CDBG program, they need to be CDBG specific qualified. So CDBG hosts trainings I think every year or every 2 years, but your certification is for up to 3 years at a time.
So if you reached out to them, that type of person that oversaw such huge undertakings with all of our new schools, they might be interested.
And in doing the training, yeah, they could.
So you might want to talk to them.
If
I don't
they're-
know who they are,
If they're
but
qualified, yeah. Oh, and to Natalie's question about staff, any staff that works with CDBG program is also required to be certified.
okay,
So someone in the office that is not certified cannot, operate within the CDBG funds and programs. So the training is coming up next week. So Lauren and I will be going to the training it's a 2-week training, to recertify our certification as staff too, yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Neighborhood Assistance Act program. This is a great program. It allows organizations in our community to partner with businesses and work towards improving structural or programming needs that the community may have. This year, I don't know if you remember, we applied with 2 organizations, the Noank Baptist Church for energy improvements. Town of Groton also applied for the community center, HVAC upgrades. The total funds, as you can see in the report, for Noank, they're applying for 38,000, and the community center 150,000. The state last week or this week approved both projects. And so now the business partners that are interested in working with these organizations have until October 1st, sorry, to submit their documentation in support of these projects.
Okay.
So without a business partner, the project won't receive funding, even if the state
Correct.
approves it. It's a 2-part kind of.
And it doesn't have to be somebody in town.
Yeah, no, as long as they pay the state type of taxes, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. And it has to be, I believe, one of the types of corporation. I want to say it's an S corporation that is able to participate in this program. In the past, Groton Utilities has funded a few. Couple of the other utility companies, communication type companies are able to participate in this program. Yes, yeah.
Does it seem likely that these two will be funded?
We are currently in communication with some organizations that are interested in funding a project in Groton. It is their decision if they do,
Right.
or, or which one they choose. I cannot influence them
Right.
to decide for that, yeah. But I do encourage that, these organizations or representatives from these organizations communicate to businesses, even if it's a one-page document where you give a summary of the project, a summary of what you do in the community, just to help, that business make that decision for you, yeah.
And let me ask you this. Say Knowing Baptist Church, 38,000, say, one utility says, we'll give you 20,000 towards that project. Can they cut it up like that?
They can, yes.
Okay,
The minimum a business can contribute is $250.
Okay.
Maximum is 150,000.
okay,
So you can get 250 from, I don't know, how many businesses, to help you. So, yeah.
okay.
And Leila, did you say the town is in communication with some business partners who might be interested, or did you say the town is not in communication? I wasn't sure.
Well, the two organizations, there's businesses that have expressed interest in projects in Groton. So the location first, I'll say that. But I am not involved in what they're communicating. That's up to the business and the community organization.
Right. It's just in this case, one of the business organizations is the town.
Well, the point of contact for the community center is, yes, I'll say that.
Okay.
Not the town, yeah.
Yeah, but so you're saying there are two business partners who you think have been communicating somehow.
I can't say that there are two. It could be one. It could be more than one. They don't have to check that with me, is what I'm saying. They do that communication and submit their forms to the state. The state then either approves those businesses and notifies everyone which businesses were approved to partner with an organization. So the businesses don't have to come through the town. They can go directly to the state for that, yes, yeah. The hope is that, yes, there are businesses communicating with organizations in our community, yeah.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question or no?
Yeah, I mean, the program is a little complicated in the way that it operates. It seems like we, the town, we don't always know if there's business entities out there
Yes, yeah.
that are interested in participating. So that's all. I was just trying to understand what we know and don't know.
Yes, yeah. The state does issue a report of businesses that have participated in the past
Mm-hmm.
and this program year for the whole state. So there is a report that shows, statewide which organizations are, interested and involved in this program. And I share that with, the organizations that reach out to me. I give them that full report because it's a state report, it's not mine. I give them a report and I tell them how to reach out and kind of source support from these businesses. It is up to, the organization then to go and reach out and, find funding opportunities, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
So if these organizations are funded, they'll have 2 years to complete their project or use of funds. So even if the project is not complete, but the funds need to be used within 2 years from the approval date. So they may get official letters between now and end of the year and have up till 2027, end of that year, to complete their projects or the funds. Groton community conversation. We currently do not have one coming up, but I do want to highlight one that recently we hosted at Thrive 55. It was around flooding and flood zones and helping homeowners understand what flood zones they are in and how to find flood insurance resources. We had someone from the state come and speak about flood insurance. the link that I will share with everyone in the report will take you directly to where you can direct a neighbor to go and look up, what flood zone they are in. That link also kind of helps you go through the process to look for what insurance opportunities there are, and kind of complete that whole circle if you're interested in getting flood insurance. The POCD, the next one is Groton 2035, is also something that's happening. I'm sure you've heard it either through town council or other meetings that are happening. I wanted to make sure that this committee has access to the project documentation and a web page link. It's on the Greater Groton website. Again, that link will also be shared with you. I will also share with you some dates that are coming up. September 23rd, there's a listening session on housing demand presentation at 5 p.m. The webpage will have details about location and those type of things that you can look forward to. I do encourage you that you at least participate, through either reading the webpage. They have short surveys on there that you can give feedback, your opinion, or share with a neighbor that may want to participate in building a greater Groton for all of us moving forward. This process, it's long range planning, so it doesn't happen every year. But when we are in that window, is a window opportunity for residents, and other organizations that are in Groton. It gives them the opportunity to participate in the planning process, and so that's why you hear a lot of this. And we are trying to push and get a lot of people involved in this process as we can. And so web link I will share with you. But if you can at least take a look or share it with a neighbor or someone yes, that'll help you. You have a question, Evan?
Just, you said POCD, but for the minutes, let's just lay out for should there someone be watching, that's the plan of conservation and development for the town.
Yes, yes. Sorry.
And that's a multi-year process, right, of updating the plan. What do we want Groton to look like in the decade to come, or something like that?
And those documents influence, planning and zoning practices that we will, participate in for the next few years. So it's a very important starting phase where, residents can get involved and kind of ensure that their opinions are heard and, are included as we plan for Groton, yes.
Mm-hmm. September 23rd, that's a Tuesday, 5 p.m. And
the website has details of where,
Yep.
but I think since it's a listening session, it might be posted like a Zoom link or something like that, where people can listen in, and you may not be able to participate as much in that one, but you can at least hear what's going on and what's being communicated. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Another opportunity that I want to share with everyone is the Climate Ready Groton Take Action Together initiative that is this week, I think, started. I know tomorrow they have popsicles in the park, and they are interacting with members of our community, trying to both get feedback, but help educate our community about climate change and decisions that we need to make as a community. And so I think that's as important for residents, again, to give feedback, your opinion, and what I mean. It's that opportunity for people to speak and say what you need to say. Yes.
Which park is that?
I want to say it's going to be the park down the hill here.
Sutton Park or Quantic
I
Lake?
want to say Pequannock. But on the website, there'll be a link that has the exact locations. The reason why I don't add locations to the report itself is because sometimes they change, or scheduling type things. But on the website, they always push for informing the public of where exactly things will happen.
So we'll look that up.
Yes, yeah.
Did you say that's tomorrow, the popsicles in the park?
Yes, tomorrow afternoon.
That's
They'll
right.
also be, so tomorrow is a big day for that. There'll be an event at the library, I believe. after 12 p.m. and then popsicles in the park. I want to say 3. I don't have the exact time right now, but the website has the details for that. I think that's a good reason for, sharing it with you so that you go to the website and actually, find out more details about that effort. Again, these are, sorry,
It's good for the community because popsicles in the park. If it's 3 o'clock, the kid's coming home from school. You pop on over, give the kids a popsicle. Mom and dad or mom or dad can
Mhm.
listen to what's going on
Yeah.
in town.
yeah, again, and that is also another opportunity for people to give their feedback or
Right,
opinions, it's not restricted, we're not trying to, do things behind people's backs. It's very open and,
Yep,
to the
transparent,
public.
yep.
Yeah. And again, the web pages, they have information out there on all these efforts. And so that's why I wanted to make sure that, this committee is aware of it, and you can share it with, members of the community that you communicate with, and, help everyone stay informed at least, yeah. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Very informative.
Great. I just want to say, part of my reaction hearing the report, Leila, is just, wow, there's a lot going on. There's
Unbelievable.
a lot that staff is working on. Climate, the town's response to climate change. That's huge. The plan of conservation and development, updating that. Having these community conversations, trying to engage the community. These various programs to help lower income families who need help in renovating or addressing a problem with their house. It's a lot for the department, for the staff. And I just want to acknowledge and recognize that all that's going on.
And then pulling together that 200-page grant.
Yeah, so that's why, like,
Whoa.
we need to work early and prioritize, the work throughout everything else that's happening, and so that's why
Absolutely.
I try to bring it up early so that we are thinking
Exactly,
about it,
yes.
and, it doesn't have, it's not just February and now we are starting to, go into that process.
Right.
Because it's lengthy. You guys have heard and seen, some of the things that need to happen for that to be successful, yeah. And there are other initiatives that are going on, sorry, in our department and other town departments. Greater Groton is a resource for the town that we are trying to channel a lot of the ongoing projects, whether it's Parks and Rec, on Public Works, some of these other projects. A lot of them do have project pages on Greater Groton. So once you land on any of the programs that I will share with you, you can go to the larger page and see all the other projects too, and kind of read up on town-owned property. I think they have project pages on there too, and so there's a lot of information out there that people can educate themselves with and stay informed. Yeah.
Lots
Denise,
going on.
Denise, you're newer to the committee, so I'm sure
Mhm.
you're still learning acronyms and words but do you have any questions about?
No,
Okay, good,
nope.
good.
How about you, David? You good?
I'm good. I guess what strikes me is that there's such a need for housing. And then you got 200-page reports it just seems such conflict of
Exactly.
trying to get things done. It's a shame. Not enough consultants, all those things. But
Yeah.
I-
It's
Lot of
why,
fire.
yeah,
A lot of irons in the fire.
yeah.
Yeah,
it's why we say the wheels of government move slowly, right, David?
don't they ever?
There's all these requirements for everything. You think, oh, let's do this. And you think, well, that'll be simple. And it turns out not to be simple.
You know me, Natalie, I have to comment. Sometimes I
Please.
wish the wheels of government didn't move so quickly, if you know what I mean.
Yes, we do. All right, so we are up to unfinished business. Do we have anybody have any unfinished business? None.
We still
Any-
have a vacancy on the committee for another alternate.
Okay,
If I think the person has to be an unaffiliated voter or a Republican, I think we're maxed out on Democrats, although I haven't taken a look at that recently. But if anybody has a friend, a neighbor, knows someone who would like to join the committee, just know there is an opening.
okay. Okay, so no new business. I guess we're going to adjourn.
Yeah, let's just touch base on our next meeting, which is early December.
Yeah. December.
Wednesday, December 3rd.
Third.
You want to put that in your calendar now? And by then, Leila, you'll know more about whether we'll be proceeding, or no, you won't really know then whether we're doing a CBDG grant for next year.
Um, we won't know, but we will be in communication with organizations. I mean, I can starting now, if there's people interested, start that communication. So that by the time, because we do need to secure a consultant for that process too.
Right.
That's another issue there.
Right.
And there needs to be contracts signed between the three parties, the town, the sub-recipient, and the consultant. So a lot of that needs to happen before we start, engaging with the state on potentially applying. Yes, yeah.
Right. Right.
I know Mystic River Homes had grant
Mhm.
and would Quonic Village or
Russell Garden.
Grassel Gardens, would they be eligible?
We have actually completed projects with them, and on the Town of Groton's webpage that we'll post here in the next week or two, I'll put out examples or recent projects, and
Mhm.
that'll include what we did. I think we did the Pequannock Village 2014 and 2015. We did I want to say we did work at Grassel Gardens around that time too. But I do know we started at Mystic. We started 2017. We did
Right,
first application with Mystic River Homes, and we did a second application in 2019, sorry. And then that finished around what 2021, 2022, that project. Yeah. So we have worked in those organizations. Yeah.
okay,
And basically the CDBG grant, that particular grant, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, Leila, but it basically, the organization we partner with has to operate kind of low-income housing. That's the purpose of that grant. So in Groton, there really are only a couple of organizations, again, as far as I know, Mystic River Homes and the Groton Housing Authority, which operates Grasso Gardens and Pequot Village. I don't know if there's even a third, there might be, but those are the two that we've partnered with in the past. And the deal is they can't apply themselves for the CDBG grant money, only towns can. But the money can only be used to renovate or build or expand low-income housing. The town doesn't do that itself.
Yeah.
So the town serves as a conduit for the money and partners with an organization in town that operates low-income housing, which is primarily low-income senior housing
Yes.
and low-income for disabled folks.
right.
So that's why Groton Housing Authority and Mystic River Homes have been the two organizations that the town has partnered with.
On the website, I'll try to give more detail as to what type of organizations
Okay.
and type of projects qualify.
Mhm.
About the building of housing, this program does not build, it specifically modernize housing, so there's a little difference there, yeah, so they don't do new construction, like they don't, start from
Yeah,
scratch, but
Grasso Garden needs it
existing, yeah.
terribly.
Yeah.
Renovating, updating.
Yes,
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yes, Grasso Gardens is desperately in need, and I think we were going to partner with them at one point, but I know something happened. But anyway, we'll see.
Issue that came up there was that the projects, and this is for any new organization that we partner with, they need to be shovel ready, which is another,
Mm.
difficult task for a lot of the organizations.
I'm
It's
sorry, what did you say? They need to be what?
shovel ready, like almost ready.
Oh, ready to go.
construction, yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
so suppose, Grasso Gardens, if you went and somebody inspected Grasso Gardens and said, okay, those roofs are 50 years old.
Mhm.
It's time to put new roofs on. And you get everything all done, you could put the grant in asking for XYZ number
Mhm.
to put new roofs on all of them.
Yeah, but where do they need to be? I think one of the requirements that the drawings need to be 90% ready.
Okay,
Yeah, and you need to secure an architect, an engineer to do, their work. All of that needs to happen upfront before you get to the CDBG funds. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Right, so the organization, either Mystic River Homes, Groton Housing Authority, or any other, they have to spend money hiring people to do a fair amount of work, and some environmental studies might have to be done.
Yes.
They have to do all that even before they can apply through us, with us, for the CDBG money. So that's challenging for those organizations. Yeah.
Now, I had heard that Grasso Gardens was gonna be totally, Grasso Gardens, no,
117.
yes, right by me. I had heard that they were going to build brand new ones, but then we lost the funding. Is that something that's still on the table?
The CDBG program doesn't do new construction again.
Right.
But if there's modernization, as the example provided here, that needs to happen, that could potentially be a project for that.
Can
So,
they be modernized, or should they
Yes,
just
they
be
can.
gutted and redone?
I believe the buildings are solid. They may need new roofs, they may need new bathrooms, new kitchens, that kind of thing.
But the bones and the foundation
I
are,
think the bones might be fine.
And I think what you might have heard, Denise, there was a plan at one point to modernize the bathrooms, the kitchens at Grasso Gardens, but also to build some additional units
yes.
would be new. And to do that, they had to get all kinds of funding. The Groton Housing Authority has to go and get funding from multiple sources. In addition, the CDBG grant is just a little piece.
Right.
It's like, that's 2 million for what might turn out to be a $40 million project. So they were looking at getting funding from a variety of places. And they were working on it. Maybe they even thought they kind of had a plan, but my understanding is, at the end of the day, unfortunately, it didn't come together, and it's not moving forward right now. Yeah. Yeah,
Because we can certainly use a lot more of the
absolutely.
low-income housing.
Absolutely. Yep.
If we have a lot more low-income housing, does that raise our tax base? And what I mean by that is Norwich and New London have very high social services.
Mhm.
So their taxes are astronomical to live in those towns. And I'm wondering if we are providing more low-income housing, how is that gonna affect taxpayers in the town of Groton?
Good question.
I
Um,
will say each project is different.
Mhm.
What I mean by that is funding sources, type of structures. Are you building 50 single family houses? Are you building one apartment complex? Are you know what I mean? Those type of
Mhm.
things go into consideration when preparing for those type of projects. The building of affordable housing, and I say building, meaning the provision of affordable housing doesn't have to be new construction every time. You know,
Right.
there's other opportunities for using existing structures,
Yes.
you know, for those type of needs. And
Mhm.
then that's where the funding then becomes important, because depending whether it's state funds or HUD
Federal,
funds, you know, yeah,
right,
those
federal
kind of
level. Mhm.
play into different calculations, yeah.
Well, I do know that Branford Manor is considered low income.
Correct.
The owners of Branford Manor do pay taxes to the town.
Okay.
They have a very long tax break for some reason
Mm-hmm.
that happened a long time ago. But they do pay a substantial amount to the town for
Good.
taxes.
Good. Okay.
Now, I don't know about the Groton Housing Authority or any of those if they pay taxes.
Mhm.
I have
So-
no idea.
So yeah, and that's what I was gonna explain it to Denise with Groton Housing Authority, Mystic River Homes
Mhm.
have an agreement with the town. And I can't tell you what the agreement is. I don't remember the details, but they have an agreement about what they pay in taxes. It's probably reduced.
Right.
And that's what the town does to try to support low-income housing. Because both of those organizations probably barely generate enough money to operate their properties and not enough money to do the renovations and maintenance that they need. And New London, you know, you mentioned New London. I don't think the tax rate in New London is high because they have a lot of low-income housing.
Mhm.
The tax rate in New London is high because they have so much not taxable property.
Mhm.
It's the hospital, the colleges, all of
Oh, I
them.
see what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, New London's really in a challenging situation. I've heard talks over the
Right.
years. In
Mhm.
some ways, they're the hardest hit of all the municipalities in the state because they're tiny, but a huge amount of their property is not taxable. And that's the challenge that New London, as I understand it, in a very simplified explanation.
No,
But
that makes sense.
yeah, the first time I heard it explained, I went, oh, I hear, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Norwich, so I can't speak to that one.
Mhm.
But so in Groton, if there's more affordable housing, it depends on what the agreement is that the town makes with that organization when they
Okay.
create the affordable housing. The developments that are happening now, I think there's just a small portion of the development that's being dedicated to affordable housing.
Mhm.
So as far as I know, those projects will pay taxes to the town of Groton.
Good.
But they're not really addressing the need for affordable housing.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, does affordable housing get lumped in with low-income housing? Like,
Yeah, that's
are
a
they-
whole discussion we can have another day.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
But
Understanding low-income housing and affordable housing and what those terms mean. Leila, it's a big conversation, right?
yes, but I do want to say the opportunity for the public to participate on that housing discussion is coming up here shortly too. I don't have it in my notes, but I do know we do have the missing middle housing study that's currently going on, and they will have information and open sessions for residents to participate and learn more about, where we are in studying, what the needs are for
Mhm.
housing in Groton.
Great.
And so that question, I think, will also come up in, what we are finding and what the
Mhm.
possible options are for our community is. I do want to say also, that's why these studies are important. You'll hear about this study's happening, this study's happening. It's not just because we have time and, we just,
Nothing else to
we
do.
just want to write papers.
You love filling out those 300 pages.
No, but it's to help inform, our leadership's decisions,
Yeah,
to say, and the studies, they come more frequently than the POCD will come. So you'll find that there's, a study every 2 or 3 years, because it's more to see what the current state is of the community in that present moment. And so,
correct.
yeah, those help us move forward, in planning and,
Mhm. Thank you.
you know.
Yeah, there was
understand.
a housing study that was done just, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, Leila. And
It
that
was
was,
updated, yeah. It was updated 2022, 2023, I think, yeah.
yeah. And I learned a lot participating in that. So
Wow.
that's a report we could take a look at one day, Denise. That might be interesting for this committee to just look at a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah. Cool.
It's
I
on
think
the
you
town
did say-
website, I think, but I can have Lauren share that, or I can share it
Great.
with everyone. To look at it. It has, a lot of graphs and.
It's a good one. I thought that report was really very valuable.
That's
Yeah.
one that said we need like 635 new
It
homes,
is that one. But
whether
one of
they
the
be
things that
apartments or homes. And that's why we're trying to build.
Mhm.
I think it's
Mhm.
higher than that, but yeah, we'll see it there, but I want to say it's in the thousands. I want to say
Just
6,000, 6,000, I think was the number.
That's what,
6,000?
Yes,
that's what
yeah.
Marge, I thought that's what Marge said. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, 6,000. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a huge difference between low income, which goes by your income,
Correct.
versus
Affordable.
affordable, which is a set fee,
Right.
lower than everybody else in your complex will be paying.
Well, I know that new development over there across from Stop and Shop.
Yep.
My daughter's architect
Pleasant Valley.
firm worked on that. She worked on that. But a studio is like 16, 17, right? $100 a month for a
Is that the big one up
studio.
on the hill?
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
that's outrageous.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
I just can't even fathom it.
One of the interesting things I learned, Denise, do you want to do this housing study that was done a few years ago? Something I had never thought about. The view presented by this report anyway was we don't have enough affordable housing in Groton, or any town, no town, pretty much across the country, there's not enough. It's not
Correct.
unique to Groton.
Right.
But part of what the study showed is there's not enough housing, period.
yeah.
And so there are people who could afford to pay more, believe it or not, for their apartment, and they would actually like a newer, more modern apartment with more amenities.
Correct.
But there aren't enough of those available, so they rent the apartments that are $1,800 a month. And then the people who could afford 1,800 can't get those, so they end up buying the sort of renting the less affordable ones. Less affordable, I said that wrong, the less expensive ones, by building more apartments that are going to rent for what seem like exorbitant rents to all of us, 2,000 a month, 2,500 a month. Believe it or not, the belief is that there are people who would then not rent the apartments that cost 1,500 or 1,800 a month. Those apartments would be freed up. I don't know if I'm explaining that well, especially over
Yeah.
Zoom, but it was interesting to me, this idea that we don't need to just build low-income affordable housing. We also need to build some very nice housing that people will move into, freeing up some properties that rent for less that would then be available to people who can't pay the higher. So we can talk more about that another time, and the report explains it much better than I just did, I'm sure.
Thank you.
I will share with you an anecdote, if you don't mind. I was in New York recently.
Please.
My son-in-law owns apartments, and his brother-in-law also owns apartments. And they were talking about this new regulation about guidelines for pets and so forth. And my son-in-law's brother-in-law said something about he wouldn't rent this apartment because the person had a big dog. And, big, really big dog. And he said, and my son-in-law says to me, he says, "You mean you gave up $43,000 a month just because he had a dog?" And I nearly fell off my chair.
I would have fallen off my
I mean,
chair.
that's $500,000 a year just for an apartment in New York.
And it's rent.
It's rent, yeah.
It's not like you can deduct the,
Yeah.
holy cow.
Can you
So,
imagine?
No.
Mhm, mhm.
I can't even imagine 2,500.
yeah, no,
That's what I'm saying.
That's why I'm still in my house. I can't afford to go anywhere else
Mhm,
and put a family into my home,
mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
43,000 a month.
I think there might be another meeting.
Okay, people are hanging up there. Okay, so we will adjourn the meeting.
On that note, I propose we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Hi,
Opposed?
thank you for coming, everybody. See you in
We are
December.
adjourned at 12:59. What's the